Snow White is a new live-action Disney remake of the classic animated film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The film is directed by Mark Webb. If you don't remember who Mark Webb is, he's the guy that gave us the Amazing Spider-Man movies. I was kind of wondering what the hell happened to this dude. This film stars Rachel Zegler in the title role of Snow White. It also stars Gal Gadot, whatever the hell her last name is. Wonder Woman, the former Wonder Woman, is starring as the evil queen. And I'm not gonna lie, most of you should know the story of Snow White, or Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, as it was called in the old animated classic. But just in case you need a little bit of a refresher on what's going on, Rachel Zegler plays Snow White. Snow White is a princess in this beautiful kingdom. And then this kingdom gets taken over by this evil-ass witch, played by Gal Gadot, and then obviously Snow White has to go on the run. While she's on the run, she befriends these seven dwarves who all have different personalities. Meanwhile, the evil witch in the castle is asking a mirror who's the baddest bitch of them all. And of course, the mirror is like, I mean, you bad, but there's like somebody else out there who's like even more bad than you. So I don't know, you should probably go take care of that. Thus, we have a movie of an evil witch trying to kill a princess and a princess trying to rally a kingdom. That's basically the story. Not gonna lie, this one had a fair bit of controversy surrounding it. On the internet, everyone, and I do mean everyone, has something to say about this movie. Like, I can practically feel people gripping their pitchforks harder every time a Snow White video pops up on the timeline. Some of the shit about Rachel Zegler does feel a tad bit overblown. Sure, you can disagree with some of her opinions. There's people online that are like zooming in on her back hair and like reminding the entire world that you've never come into contact with an actual woman in your life. But whatever, man, I'm gonna leave all that alone. I'm here to review a movie. I'm not here to change your personal opinion on Rachel Zegler. What I am here to tell you is that she's fucking brilliant, and that without her, this entire movie probably would have been dog shit. She carries this entire film on her spinal column. As a performer, she elevates every single scene in this movie. She's so likable. She just radiates this warmth, this joy, this love, this light, this energy that is infectious and makes you want to root for her. But it's funny how she's so good, and it makes me notice, oh, you know what? The costumes are actually pretty good. Like, the costumes, I like the way they're designed. I like the way they look. Also, she has a really good singing voice, and that elevates a lot of the musical numbers in this movie. Although, if I'm being honest, I don't think the music's that good. The dwarves don't really stand out, to be honest. They're just a bunch of uncanny valley, weirdly looking CGI things, but there is one dwarf, Dopey, who stands out among the rest. Gal Gadot, whichever one she is, she's actually really, really good in the movie. She's insanely good. In fact, it's almost award worthy. Yeah, okay. I couldn't commit to the bit. I'm sorry. We'll talk more about Gal later. It does take some elements of the Snow White like lore, and it like fleshes some of it out to a certain extent. In general, it's a decent looking movie with a hot woman singing songs to you the entire time. Like, I don't know, it seems like a winning formula to me. But like I said, without Rachel Zegler, I feel like the entire movie falls apart, and now it's gonna fall apart in this review as I lay unto you the things that I did not like about it. For starters, when it comes to the story, I feel like the story progression hit a brick wall in this movie, and then there's like a middle section of the movie where not a lot happens. The story progression stops in its tracks, and it feels like there's a lot of urgency that gets drained out of the story. It feels like there are low stakes, which I probably would appreciate more if we got a little bit more from the characters, but like I said, none of the dwarves really stand out that much other than Dopey. Being that it is a Disney movie and there is a princess, of course there's a love story. The love story here feels a little bit half-assed, a little bit undercooked. It feels like they gave it like the bare minimum, and it kind of works for the movie. Once we get to Gal Gadot, I do have to say, yeah, so she's awful in the movie. She's not good. I feel like most people know that Gal's not really a good actress, and it really takes a certain type of director to pull something passable or noteworthy out of her. I'll be honest, in this movie, I feel like in her singing scenes, she kind of goes for like this over-the-top campy type of style. And low-key, I feel like that would have benefited her performance. She's not great at it, but it feels better than the alternative. When she's not singing, her performance just feels incredibly forced and awkward. Her line delivery is really bad here. And the rest of the time, it just feels like she's this lifeless, monotone imitation of a witch. And honestly, I just need my witch to have a little bit more energy, a little bit more charisma than what she was giving in this movie. There's also this weird story structure here where they take the dwarves and then they create these other characters in the movie, these bandits. The bandits in general, I don't really understand why they're in this movie. They don't really serve any purpose, and you don't give half of an ounce of a shit about really any of them. It almost feels like the story set up this way because they wanted the bandits to replace the dwarves in the story. Then they did test screenings or whatever, and they realized, okay, people are gonna hate this shit. We have to do something different. So let's keep them in the movie, but let's just like not pay them any attention. Or I'm forced to believe that this was part of the story the entire time and that these people just didn't give an ounce of a shit about the story in general. I don't know what to believe. I'm gonna leave that up to you. All I'm saying is the bandits, they're just kind of pointless. They're just kind of there if you remove them. I don't think much about the movie changes, and honestly would have made certain things in the story make more sense if they weren't there. I'm not gonna sit up here with some nerd glasses that I don't have and be like, well, actually, I'm not gonna do that. Although granted, I feel like if I had nerd glasses, the show would be kind of like 5% more sexy. Putting all of that aside, I feel like some of the story tweaks that they do to the Snow White lore work, and then some of them are kind of like, why did you do that? That doesn't really make that much sense. There's stuff involving the mirror and the kingdom in general where I'm just kind of like, I don't know that I buy this. I feel like you changed this for little to no reason. I'm all good with change, but you gotta make it make sense for the story and the characters. I'm not gonna tell you what to do with your time. It's your money. You can do whatever the fuck you want. If you're gonna watch this movie, just know that you're watching it for Rachel Zegler. There's not much else here that's going to grab your attention. Snow White was a somewhat watchable Disney remake only because of Rachel. I'm gonna leave this one in the Fortress of Solitude. Those are my thoughts on Snow White. Tell me, do you have a favorite Disney movie? Not a Disney remake, a favorite Disney movie, period. Go ahead and put that in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and if you like what you see, tell me how you feel and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.